doing great things. Dap my partner up, I'm glad he on the same thing. Bills is going up, but I know how to maintain. Had to cut them off, but I ain't got to say name. Hey, plans of being the boss and I ain't gang bang. Some of my brothers did, but we be on the same thing. Solid sense of kid, respect is just the main thing. If I said it, I'm gon' do it. I ain't changed. Hey, I'm from the west side.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast. We discover ourselves, we embrace it, and we unlock the potential within. Listen, I thank you so much for taking out the time to listen and watch. Of course, if you're watching right now on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you so much for taking out the time. And also make sure that you follow on social media. I Am Courtney Chandler Podcast on Facebook and also on Instagram. Listen, you know how we start off every show. We do shine a light on a person or a group of people who are doing something fantastic in our world right now. And this shine a light is very special to a group of people. So without further ado, this week, shine a light.
October is designated as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast would like to remember those who have passed away from breast cancer and celebrate current survivors. One of those survivors is my grandmother, Mary Chandler. Did you know that breast cancer is the most common cancer diagnosed among women in the United States? It is the second leading cause of death from cancer among women. Only lung cancer kills more women each year. Did you also know that while breast cancer is most often found in women, men can also get breast cancer? About 1 out of every 100 breast cancers diagnosed in the United States is found in a man. While I'm not a doctor, I can tell you from having a family member diagnosed and knowing others who have been diagnosed, you can live and beat breast cancer. But early detection is the key. So this week, I shine a light on the warriors who have passed on, the warriors still fighting, and the warriors who have beat breast cancer. You are amazing, supported, and loved. And I salute you.
Shout out to all the breast cancer survivors, warriors, and those who have passed on too. We just want to show you some love, particularly my grandmother, who is a breast cancer survivor. I know she's probably going to be watching and listening, so I love you, Grandma. We definitely want to show some love to those who are currently battling breast cancer or who have survived or who have, lost their battle, but we haven't forgotten about you as well. Hey, so this week I've been teasing it on social media, been talking about it all week. We have a very, very special guest. So without further ado, I'm going to let you all listen to see who our special guest is at this time.
Journalist, podcaster, and television host, Danielle Martin is a true representation of a 21st century media mogul. The Houston native journey started at Seven Lakes High School, where she gave school announcements. She continued her journey at Sam Houston State, where she earned a degree in mass communications and communication studies and a master's in sports management. She later went on to produce programs for Fox Sports and served as a host for Iconic TV in Houston. In 2019, she became a multimedia journalist and weekend evening anchor at WIBW-TV in Topeka, Kansas. During her 3-year tenure there, she earned an award of excellence from the Kansas Association of Broadcasters for her work on a diversity, equity, and inclusion news story. Danielle currently serves as a TV host and producer for the financial marketing company Advisor Excel. The company helps financial advisors become great business owners. While hosting TV and radio shows, she also plays an important role behind the scenes inside the new AE Media Studios. While serving as a nationwide TV host, Danielle also hosts her own podcast, Behind the Spotlight, where she engages in personal and empowering conversations with individuals from all walks of life, inspiring people toward becoming the better versions of themselves. The I Am Courtney Chandler podcast welcomes Danielle Martin.
Want to portray and also, in a sense, perform on a certain level because that is the version of you that many people know. Your friends, your family, your relationship, majority of the people that you are presenting to are people you are comfortable with. And sometimes your authentic self is maybe only shown behind closed doors. Maybe it's only shown to your husband, to your boyfriend, to your spouse, to your close-knit friends that know you or knew you when you were a younger child, right? So understanding the different versions of those.
So everybody, without further ado, I would like to welcome to the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast, Miss Danielle Martin. Hey Danielle, so glad you were able to come on to the podcast this evening.
Courtney, whoa. We gotta put a pause. Friend, hold up. First of all, shout out to you. This is like the first time ever that I've ever seen a production like this before. And I was not expecting a whole I'm gonna first of all need a copy of that so I don't have to send out my bio no more. So look, I'll make sure I give you some sponsoring rights or whatever. But honey, wow, that was so dope. First of all, I had to host today, so my mouth is literally tired of smiling, but I could not help but smile the entire time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anyone put together a production like that. So literally bravo to you. Shout out to you.
Thank you.
What you're creating is so powerful and
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you.
And thank you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was awesome.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. Hey, we do things big here on the podcast. We have guests. We want to spotlight them. That's part of it. So I'm glad you liked it. And I can definitely get you a copy of that. So that way you won't have to pass out your bio. Like, I got a video.
So
There
look,
you
I
go.
got a video. Play the video. Look, I'm
Right.
gonna put that on my podcast. Look, this is from Courtney. All right. So yes. Oh my gosh.
I got you. So I'm so happy that you decided you accepted the invitation to come on. For those you don't know, where you just heard in the podcast or in the intro, Danielle has a podcast. It's called Behind the Spotlight, and that's how I really was interested in having you on. I told you before I listened to one of your episodes. It's the episode you had with your boyfriend asking you questions.
Oh my gosh.
Like, yo, like this is
Lord.
really good. And I was like, okay, so next season, Danielle Martin. I mean, reach out to her because
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Honestly, thinking back to that episode too, I think that was about a year ago. So
Yeah.
even thinking about the growth since then, oh my gosh, huge difference. So first of all, I definitely appreciate from that episode you being interested since then because yeah, God has been doing so much and just shout out to him because I'm here in this position and even just I don't take invitations, lightly. I definitely think about who's doing what. And so I definitely took time to look into what you're doing and seeing just what you're doing on your platform. I just love it. And it aligned with the vision that God has put on my heart. And so definitely took time to pray about it and was just no brainer. Of course, let's definitely do this. And again, for those who are listening and watching, Courtney and I have never met ever. And
Mm.
so I believe in divine connection. I really do. And so again, just to see what you've created is so beautiful and powerful. And I just hope that you are inspired, Courtney, to continue to definitely just go after it. Like whatever God has for you, like go after it and don't be scared because you're doing the thing. Like you are
Oh,
doing it.
thank
And
you.
I'm just here to cheer you on, bro. Like for real.
Oh man, thank you. Don't get me started in the waterworks already. We ain't even got into the discussion yet, and then you already
I
you
know.
you
Look,
already
I'm
trying
just
to keep
speaking
the
from the
waterworks.
heart. That's it.
Oh man. Well, thank you so much, Danielle. That really does mean a lot, a lot. But let's hop into this episode. Because of course, as you have been following me on social media, the episode is called "I Am Here," and as you saw in the intro, Danielle, I know you
Oh
might say
Lord.
otherwise, but I think you're here and like you're doing some incredible things. Like you're a TV host, got your own studio, own podcast. I mean, this is incredible. So that we just got to have a discussion about how you
Yeah.
got to here because I think learning your or listening to your journey will only help me, but it also helps somebody else who also is trying to get here. So just first off, I
Yeah.
know you're specifically a TV host now, nationwide. So let's talk about, what your job entails as a TV host.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so interesting because even in the intro, I loved how you went back to like even the beginning since high school. Because yeah, like my passion for TV has started like as a little girl. But as far as like what I do currently, it's so interesting. And I was like reviewing your questions, and people ask me all the time, like, how did you get here? And I always say, make it simple, God. And I know
Oh,
that sounds very broad, but it's so real. And I will go into that even later about how he got me into this space, but specifically for my current position, I work for a financial company. It's a multi billion-dollar company located in Topeka, Kansas. And specifically, I'm a TV host and producer. And so, what that looks like is financial advisors that are located, like, let's say, Texas, California, New York. They're located all over the world. And so, they'll come to Topeka and we will host their commercials or 30-minute TV shows, and it'll be all about financial retirement. And so, we will talk about basically how to help retirees plan for retirement. And
wow.
so, interestingly, like, yeah, I went from the news. Well, really, I was interested in sports, and then I got brought into the news, and then now I am a 28-year-old talking to a financial advisor about retirement. So when you say this was not my like, this was not my plan, okay? So like, yeah, I'm here, but interestingly, not only do I host TV shows like in front of the camera, but I do a lot of behind the scenes. So creating content, um, making sure the advisor is comfortable. We're kind of like that back office for financial marketing. So typically, people, while the advisor is meeting with their clients, we're working on their logo, we're working on,
Wow.
um, just marketing material, like anything that they need. And so I just kind of work on that TV production side. But recently, I've had the opportunity to create kind of like a student media day and kind of giving students, like high school students, an opportunity to come into our studio because it's a multi-million-dollar studio. And so when advisors are not in it, no one is using it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like when I was in high school, I wanted to have that experience. And so recently
Right.
I created a student program that gave students the opportunity to come in, and we would show them like, hey, this is how a camera works. This is how the control room operates behind the scenes. And so recently I've been leading that. And so I do a lot of positions at work specifically, but that's just probably, let's say, a third of the things that I do my overall life.
Mhm.
um, your girl's busy out here. Let's just say
Wow.
that.
Wow. And I mean, that's just incredible that with you being so busy, you still have the opportunity to help young people who have that passion that you have in broadcast or in journalism or
Yeah.
in TV hosting. That's incredible that you still make the time to show them around to
Mm.
give them the opportunity So let me ask you this: since you do
Yeah.
so much, when do you
Mhm.
sleep? I just gotta ask. It seems like you do a lot. Like, when do you get a chance to just
Yeah.
sleep?
That is so funny. It's so interesting. A lot of people ask me that as well. They're like, "How do you do it all?" And it's interesting because I think I'm in this space in my life right now. Everything happens in seasons. I believe that, there was a season where I was really, down. There was a season I was really tired. Now I'm in a season of like creation. And so I'm
Wow.
really motivated. Like I was just telling my girlfriend earlier that I'm doing so much, but I'm not tired. Like I am so motivated to do what like God is calling me to do because right now it's a space where like God is speaking to me so loud. It's like it's so loud, right? And so I'm having to like literally pull back from a lot of things to like be still and create because when you are moving a lot sometimes, and even though I'm doing a lot of things, I'm doing them with like intention. And so I'm doing it with like, okay, this is the time to be focusing on this. This is the time to be focusing on that because it's called preparation. And so I feel like God is preparing me for a season of harvest. And in order for me to
Wow.
receive that, I have to be ready. And it's interesting because we get, seeds all the time. And I think that sometimes when you have a seed, you water it a little bit and you'll be like, okay, let's come back and see if it grows. But you have to keep watering it, right?
Yep.
And so I think
True.
God is just being really loud in this season about what seeds I need to water. And so I think that's why, like, when you ask me when do I sleep, it's like I sleep and I still get sleep and I'm good. But when I
Right.
wake up, I'm ready to go and I'm ready to like do what I need to do for that day.
That's
So,
wow. That's awesome. And that, I like how you said, because a lot of people, or we don't get that, you have a seed and you water it, but we sometimes
mhm,
water it one time and we think that's gonna
mhm.
grow. But I love how you said that you have to keep watering your seed, and sometimes that
Yes.
may mean keep pouring in yourself, finding new things, or trying to
Mhm.
learn and advance yourself. That's watering that seed to
Definitely.
get to where you want to go. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. So that was the side
Yes.
part of my question. So let me get back to my questions here. Um,
No,
so
you're good. I
so
love it. Let it flow.
yeah, we just letting it flow here. We letting it flow, and of course, I told you earlier to be yourself, and you doing
Mhm.
just that. So kudos to you. I gotta ask. So, of course, you were in news. I'm still, hey, still fighting the good fight with
God
the rest
bless
of
you. You're
myself.
doing it though.
Woo! Keep me in prayer. Keep me in prayer, then. You rough out here for us.
I
You
know. I
woo,
know.
you know it. You know it. So, and
Courtney, Jesus.
and I read your bio. One part I didn't put in. One of the people that you looked up to was Robin Roberts. Who if you don't
Yes.
know who Robin Roberts is, he's Good Morning America. One of the anchors has been there for so many years. The legend in this business. So you were doing this you were a journalist at a news station for 3 years. So why make the change to step out of news and do TV
Yeah.
hosting for a financial company?
That's a really another interesting question. So I if it was up to Danielle J. Martin, I would not be in Topeka, Kansas. I would not. Interestingly, when my contract was coming up, right? And so like I'm gonna always keep it real. And one thing about Robin Roberts, which is why I respect her, is that she was always the most transparent and vulnerable journalist that
Yeah,
I learned from. And so with
true.
that, I've carried that with me. And so when I was in the news, and don't get me wrong, I loved it and I loved my time there. And within like 6 months, I got promoted to a weekend anchor. And so even with that position, it was like, oh my gosh, I learned so much how to produce, how to write, and do things that I was so uncomfortable with doing. And so in the time, I was really trying to climb the ladder. I was looking to get to because Topeka is considered, I believe, don't quote me, but it's below, I think it's like 150 or 160 in the market. And so it's really low. And so I was trying to get to a top 50 market and I was ready to transition. And during the time that I was transitioning or I was wanting to transition, I met my partner at the time and his name is Michael Adupatan. He's probably the most amazing human being in the world. And during
Shout
that
out to him.
time, Shout out to him. Yes, definitely. During that time, he challenged my thoughts and, what makes you think or why do you believe that you have to climb the ladder to be successful? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is and Courtney, like when you're in the news, you're like, this is the requirement. Like, this is what I have to do in order to have my own TV show, in order to, be seen, in order to, make it in this world. I have to climb the ladder. That was the only mindset that I had at that time. And so I was a rule follower my whole life. So, like, thinking outside the box, I was not in for that. I was like, nope, I don't know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I don't even want to step into that world. Like, this is what I know that works because I've seen people do it.
Right.
And so to fast forward, when I was looking for a position, the current company that I work for now, Advisors Excel, they were hiring for a TV host for their multi-million dollar studio. And so immediately when my partner was telling me about this opportunity, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't even want to do financial, reporting. I'm like, I don't know anything about retirement, right? And plus, I don't even want to stay here.
Right.
And so after a lot of fasting and praying, and I will say it took a lot of fasting and praying. Within that time, God really showed up and showed out. And I just kept hearing him saying, here is holy.
Yeah.
Right now, that's a powerful statement. And so it was a very uncomfortable season at that time. A lot of transitioning was happening personally, professionally, spiritually. There was so much happening. But in the end, what I learned was God was really teaching me to lean on him, right? He was like, you say you're faithful, but are you really faithful, right? Like, do you really believe in me? And so in that space, I really took the leap of faith to say, you know what? One, I am looking to be more financially stable because, honey, let me tell you, working in the news industry, it
Woo!
ain't all what it seems to be. Okay. Like,
Hey,
it's just not.
it's some behind the scenes stuff that they don't let
Right.
you know.
They don't know, Courtney. They don't know at
Mhm.
all. And so it's like you put in all this work for what?
Yeah.
Like for what? Right?
Yep.
And so for me, I really think God was testing my faith for one to believe like do you really believe in me? And Jeremiah 29:11 constantly kept coming into my
Mhm.
mind over and over and over. Like, for I know the plans to prosper you, not to harm
Right.
you, right? Like, if you really know that verse and understand it, then you will know that why would I put you in a position to harm you? Why would I keep you in a place that you are unfamiliar with to harm you because it's fun? No, right? And so
Yep.
over time, I realized like Topeka became one that obscurity space for me to grow
Mhm.
because in obscurity, that's where development happens. In a place of being uncomfortable, that is where development happens. And a lot of people don't want to go there because they want to be in control constantly.
Wow.
And I'm telling you from a space where I love to be in control my whole life. Like
Mhm.
till this day, I'm trying to release control, release, release. But when
Yeah.
you realize who your savior and your father is, then you're constantly reminding yourself that, okay, I am here for a reason. I'm not just here just to, okay, come do a job and leave. That was my plans.
Mhm.
I had the plans to leave. But God said, no, you need to stay here because there is something else for you. And within that time, which is so interesting how God works, it's so crazy. But the moment that I transitioned into my current company, I have received numerous of opportunities that I would have never received if I were somewhere else. Never, right? I received, awards, opportunities to meet multi-million dollar people, to be able to start my podcast and expand, to be able to start a business, to be able to really come in contact with some powerful people that in the future, when it's time for me to start that TV show, they're ready.
Yeah.
And so it's just like you never know what God has for you on the other side, right? But we want to stay in comfort because it's comfortable. We see it, we control it. We know that, like, I see the whole plan, like it's
Mhm.
clear. It's so clear. When I tell you to this day, Courtney, I don't know what God has next year, and it's scary. But you know what? I've gotten comfortable with the uncomfortable,
That's
and
right.
I think when you walk in that faith, like, beautiful things happen. Beautiful. And so I rather be in a space where it's with God rather than being in a space where, oh, because I'm comfortable and I wanna do my own plans, I wanna succeed faster or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't wanna be in that space because when you're walking by yourself, that's lonely.
Mm, yep.
That
Yep.
was long-winded, but, like, I felt it in my heart to just
Nah,
go there a little bit.
I'm enjoying all of it. I was like, you need to keep preaching because I was into it. I mean, I was like, man, because and while you were talking, the thing that just kept ringing in my ear was this faith. And I think a lot of
Mhm,
times we say we have faith in God,
mhm.
but we don't really know what faith we have until it's tested. And
At
what
all.
yeah, and
Mm-mm.
what you did, your faith was tested because and you said something so powerful. Being in a comfortable space, we sometimes
Mhm.
get so caught up in being where we're comfortable at. And a lot of times
Yeah,
we stay there because I've been doing this for 9, 10 years. Like, why should I go out and
mhm.
do something new? Well, it might be
Right.
God is trying to pull you into where you need to be and trying to elevate you, but you trying to stay in
Mhm.
that comfort zone. You got to get out that comfort zone and have some faith.
Definitely.
It's just that kept ringing in my ear when you kept saying that. I mean, damn, we
Yeah.
could have we
Now
could have
I
wrapped
will
up right
say,
there.
like now, I will say really quick that, like, I do believe that if you are in a specific space where God has called you or where you feel destined to be, like, definitely stay there, right? Like, these are this is for the person or people who may feel like they're afraid to step out. They're
Right,
afraid to step into the unknown because I think we just live in a culture where we want to be in control. We want to succeed so fast, like microwave success, to do whatever we need to do to get there, right? But then there's times where God will position you into a space to really test you. And like some people, they're out there like going back to this faith space that like, oh yes, like I do believe in God, I do believe he has the best for me, and it's like, but do you? Because faith without works is dead,
woo,
right? So you also have to
amen.
like partner with God as well, like you
Mhm.
also have to do the work. So like, even though he has me here, like it'll be a different like place if I was like, yeah, I'm here, I'm just out here in Topeka, like not doing anything, I'm just waiting for God to move, you know what I mean? Like, no, like you have to really partner with him. Like you also have to do the work because he's going to give you more pieces, right? And what I realized, the space that I was in where I knew it was time for me to shift. I was in my closet, and I don't know if you've ever been in a space where you are ready to like personally grow. You're
Yeah,
like, I've done everything I've done. Like personally, professionally, like I have done it all and I want more. What more can I have? Like, why am I not
right,
receiving more? Why am I not receiving more opportunities? Why is personally the person that I like, my husband or partner, not coming around? Like, what am I not doing? And I was in that space because one, I got out of that relationship that I was finally supposed to be out of. And then so I moved a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I'm out, right?
right,
God was like, I need you to move a little bit more. And so I'm like, well, I already moved, you know? And so partnering with God is really like doing the work, doing the things that you don't want to do. That's what he's really calling you to do. But we want to stay in this space where, again,
right.
control. We want to control everything. Why? Why?
Yes,
Like, it doesn't make sense. And so you have to really like put yourself out there, and putting yourself out there is one, looking crazy. It's so interesting because I know in the Bible it talks about it. Like Job, when he built the ark, oh my gosh, he looked crazy. People are like, Job, it hasn't rained. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, it's coming. It's coming. Right. So
yep,
imagine being that person. I'm that
yep,
person right now, Courtney. Right now, I'm telling people crazy things, and they're like, girl, what? You're going to do
yeah,
what, Topeka? What? Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I am. So I'm in this crazy season. And Mike Todd always says there's that crazy faith where, like, if you partner
yeah,
with God, if you really believe, I
mhm,
promise you, you look crazy, but on the other side of this, in a couple of years, you're going to be like, dang, that girl really did it. Yeah, I've been telling you this the whole time.
right. That's actually one of my favorite books, Crazy Faith by Pastor Mike
Oh my
Todd.
gosh.
Yeah, that's one of
Yes.
my favorite, literally one of my favorite books. I'm gonna wrap up and say this. A lot of people they and this is a very true saying. Um, they want the glory, but they don't know the story behind what the glory
Ooh,
is.
that's
So
good.
I think a lot in your situation, they see the glory, but they don't know the full story. And when they get the full
Mm-mm.
story, they can grasp like, wow, like God really, you really had faith in God, and God really worked it out how He wanted it and where He wanted you to be. So I mean, wow, I we can really wrap up the episode, but I got a
Oh
few
my
more
gosh.
questions for you. So we mentioned you was in news for 3 years. I just gotta know, um, how hard was that to take a step back and get out the business, and then
Oh
what was
my
the biggest
gosh.
challenges and hurdles? 'Cause I could just only imagine you doing it, and that's what you wanted to be, and I'm getting out of business.
Yes.
I gotta know what was it like?
Yeah, definitely. And okay, earlier I want to like correct myself because I know I was saying Job and the ark and Noah. I hope people understand it's Noah and the ark, that the story that I was really talking about. But
Gotcha.
to get out of the industry is your question, right? Like the challenges that came with that.
Mhm.
Um I think the challenges one came with, professionally trying to get out of my contract was a very difficult one. However, um, I think when God is aligning the opportunity for you to step into,
Yeah.
that's going to naturally happen in the way it's supposed to. So, luckily, I had the opportunity to not have to pay out my contract. Um,
That's a blessing.
but I think that was a big challenge because
Yeah.
I think I had like 6 months left, and that's a lot, on my contract, or maybe it was like 2 to 3 months. I can't remember, but it was a really big expense for me to pay out. And so I'm like, okay, God, well, if you really want me to stay here, like you will cover this because I ain't paying this stuff. And so to see that was a really big challenge. Another huge challenge, and I will definitely be transparent in this space, was in this time of leaving the business, I was in a mindset of being afraid of not being seen.
Mm,
And I don't know if you've felt this, Courtney, but like when you're in the news industry, there is a pleasure that comes with being on TV, not because you're on TV. There's a pleasure that comes with being on TV because the people make you feel like
mhm.
I'm an important person. It's the
Yep.
people in the community that's like, "Oh my gosh, I've seen you on TV. Oh my gosh, this. Oh my." It's like that, that satisfaction, right?
It's the reward without getting an actual physical reward in a way, in a
That part.
sense. Mhm.
Yes. You said it correctly and perfectly. Like, yes. It is like, oh my gosh, people see me. No
Yeah.
matter how insecure that I feel or look, people see me. And
Mhm.
so, interestingly, and I think I do share this in the podcast with Michael, is, I said that I was afraid to make that transition to a financial company because no one is going to see me anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
verbally said that, and so I think there was a time where I was afraid to say that because it's like, "Oh my gosh, like why would she think that way of yourself?" But it's like, no, there was a lot of personal development that I really had to go through. And one, I was just so unsure of myself. Like I was so um not in love with myself. I will be completely honest. Like I was not in love with who I was.
Mhm.
And so people telling me that they loved me was my reward, was my like, oh my God, I feel seen. I feel loved from strangers, right?
Right,
And so
right.
I think God was really like, I want you to be in a space where you know that I love you and you love yourself. And so I believe, like, me taking a step back from the news, one, I will be even more transparent that even me stepping away from the news, that never went away, right?
Mhm.
Like, till this day, people are like, yeah, she used to work at WWW. Like, I still get that. And then I get into my new job and my new position. And it was like the first week, everyone's like, oh my gosh, like giving me more praise than I ever expected. And I'm like,
Wow.
whoa,
Yeah.
This is crazy. So what I was worried about was like my own insecurity. And
Mhm.
so but again, as I'm in this space currently of like digging into the wounds of that little girl, right? Because that's what it was. It was I was healing and I'm currently healing that little girl in me because the little girl in me never got the love that she wanted to receive. So having satisfaction or reward from strangers tell you, "Hey, I see you," was everything I wanted until God like literally said, I don't want you to ever seek feedback. I want you to seek
Mhm.
faith. Because when you seek feedback, you're going to lean on that. And
Mhm.
so when you seek faith, you will always lean on me. And so
Right.
there was that challenge of like being in a foreign territory, one, because I was like a student all over again. I didn't know this atmosphere, I didn't know the language. I was so like in that space when I first started currently in my position. Um, I was just in a low space. I felt like I had to start all over again
Mhm.
because it was new, it was uncomfortable. It was like literally being in a foreign country and people are talking to you about annuities. You're like, "What the heck is an annuity?" Like,
Don't feel bad. I just
what?
learned myself. Don't feel bad.
I'm like, "Who's talking about Social Security and retirement? I'm 28, like, I don't, like, care or know," right? That
Right.
was just
Right.
real thoughts,
Right.
like, oh my gosh, until, like, I think it was, like, 6 months in, I finally got comfortable. I finally got, a good handle over what I was doing. And what I love about my company and the people that I work with is that they were so patient with me. And most importantly, like I had my partner Michael be even more patient and graceful and just kept encouraging me. And just kept reminding me that everything that you are searching for is around you. So what you think that is so far away, what you think that like, oh my gosh, I will never understand this. Honey, if you just like position yourself, if you just like take a second to just like gather your thoughts, gather what is it that I need to learn right now?
Right.
What is it that I need to focus on right now? How can I be better tomorrow? How can I prepare for tomorrow? So I really had to like break it down and like get back to the basics of like really asking myself the right questions because I was in a space where I was like seeking like just the future and wanting to be
Right.
better and wanting to just be this best version of myself when I just got in the game. The best analogy that my partner gave me, he was like, "You are a freshman right now. Like you're sitting out. Like you got to just like, you got to just get in your reps, right? You got to just take
I
it.
like
You got to own it, but you got to be the freshman that works hard, right?"
that. Mhm.
And like a year later, I'm now like, I would say I'm on the field, right? Like I'm out here.
You made
And
it.
so I made it. And it feels good. Like it feels good. Like full circle. I had like um, the advisor that I started with when I first started at Advisors Excel, we took almost 8 hours to get through our shoot. Today, full circle, we finished in 3 hours, right?
Wow.
So it's like looking at the growth,
Mhm.
understanding your growth, like understanding where I'm at now because one, I had to go through the obscurity season, I had to go through development, I had to go through the ugly season and really like one, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Had to.
Whoa.
Now I embrace it. Now I'm like,
Ah,
uncomfortable, come to me. We're walking in it.
there it
Let's
is.
go. We're facing it, right? Because
Wow.
on the other side, I'm going to be brand new. On the other side, I'm going to win because I did the thing that nobody wants to do. What is that? Face fear,
Mhm. Wow.
right? And what
Man,
is fear? False
false
evidence
evidence
appearing
appearing
real.
real.
It is
Already
not,
is.
it does not exist. So what
Mhm.
you think that what you're trying to avoid, what you think is fearful, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail. Oh my gosh, people are going to say something to me. Oh my gosh, people are going to know I'm inadequate. Those are your own thoughts.
Right.
But you have an opportunity to change your thoughts. You have an opportunity to literally, one, make a choice to literally shift your mindset, which is interesting that I read something the other day, and I want to share it with you, Courtney,
Go
is
ahead.
that life is a matter of choices, right?
Right.
And every choice you make makes you. And I'm like,
Mm,
ooh, I like that. I'm like, yes.
I like that too.
Again, I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back.
Yes. Go
Life is a
take notes.
matter, take notes, right? Life is a
Yeah.
matter of choices. And every choice that you make makes you. So, what choices are you making right now to become the better version of yourself? What are you doing?
Yeah. I got so many. Can't do me like this. I got too
I
many
want to know your
sound bites to
story.
cut.
I want to know. I
I
want to
mean,
know
wow.
like where you're at.
I mean, my. Woo! I don't even know where to move forward after that. I feel like we need to have like a
A
whole
part
just
two.
right a part two to this for the people who didn't to the people who want to hear more and the people who didn't understand
Mhm.
the first episode. My God,
Right.
wow! This is one of those like you're in church and like
Oh
we
yeah.
mentioned Mike Todd. He says
Mhm.
something like, you know what? That ain't even right. That's not even fair. You don't need. I mean, wow. All
Oh
right,
my
all right.
gosh.
I'm gonna try to move forward. All right. So now that you're here in this space that you're in now, how do you feel?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel so good, Courtney. I'm gonna be even more honest, like I'm always honest, but I feel really good. Like I love where God has me. I love what's happening because one, I get to do what I love to do in all the areas that I'm currently operating in. And it's interesting because it didn't hit me until today. I was filling out this application to be a part of this leadership group. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all of my skills in all the areas. Like I'm producing, I'm editing, I'm creating content, social media, um, I'm doing TV hosting, literally in my full time job, in my podcast, in the organization I'm involved in, the business that I'm creating. Like I'm literally operating out of all of my skills. And so right now, like I said, I'm just in that space of just watering the seed constantly because I never know what seed is going to harvest first. And so in the meantime, I'm just in that season of preparation. But most importantly, I feel good. Like I love the people around me. I love me and my partner and like what we're building. And what he's building is beautiful. Like this whole organization called Omni Circle Group, located in Topeka, Kansas, focuses on personal and professional development. It's so powerful. And this is just the beginning stages because we're going to fully launch this thing next year. Like this year, we opened up our building.
Uh,
We've been
okay.
focusing on like, yeah, like we've been focusing on just really trying to get the fundamentals and the structure in place. And so next year, we're fully going to be just operating fully. So I'm super excited about that. My partner is going to be launching this whole like personal development um academy thing. Like just wait because you might see a book come out from him, so it's going to be
Okay.
super good. But yeah, like it feels good to one be in what am I in parameter
Hmm.
with someone that is creating and building on the same level. Not same level, but like just operating in that same level as far as like
Right.
creation. And so interestingly, I love how like, you know, people always say be careful with building a business or doing life mainly like building a business with your partner, right? Not gonna lie, it's very hard. And it's not for the weak. It's really not. But what I love about what we do is that we're so passionate about people and we're so passionate about wanting other people to succeed as well, right? And so our goal is to definitely make sure that we build a platform for people to come be a part so we can all thrive together, right? And
Right.
so like I just love how like last night, you know, we were just both reading books, which by the way, your girl used to never read. I used to hate reading. But we're
Dang.
like on the couch like reading books
I
together. I'm
don't
like,
know.
this is the life.
Danielle, I don't know. I was talking to somebody today. I don't know. Is this when you get older, you be more interested in reading books? I have been more
Oh,
interested in reading now, like reading a
right.
book.
Yes. I'm here for that. Let me know if you need
Yeah.
some book recommendations, cause
Yes.
yeah,
Wow.
it's good.
So we gotta have a TV host, national syndicated TV host, and a best-selling author. Man, yeah, that's a power couple right there.
Well,
Woo!
look, you never know. Look,
Woo!
wait for him. Just waiting God to move even more, right? So, but
And
yes, he's doing
as Drake
amazing
say,
things.
as, as Drake say, just wait on it.
Just wait on it.
Just wait on it. So, hey, that leads to my next
Oh my
question,
gosh.
Danielle. So, now that you're in the space that you're in now, what's next? What are some of the goals that you want to accomplish? You just told us a few of them. So, what's some other things you're looking forward to accomplishing and reaching?
So I don't know if it's like, yeah, I guess you can consider it a goal, but I would say like God recently gave me more pieces to the puzzle because that's what He's doing. He's just giving me piece by piece because I'm like, let me see the full picture. I forgot where I was at. He's like, come on, we've been here before. So
Right.
I would say He's giving me more pieces to the puzzle when it comes to me creating my own business and the platform that I'm creating for women to share their story. So, Behind the Spotlight podcast was originally created for me to just interview like journalists, right? People like yourself in the industry for us to talk about faith, personal, and professional life and how it all balances together. Over time, that mission has cultivated into a woman's kind of like movement towards giving women a platform to share their story of who they are behind the title, right? And so we have really transparent conversations, and just like we're having right now about, what is it like to be an entrepreneur? What is it like to be a mom or a wife and do all the things? And so we talk about very intimate conversations, but even further, God has been giving me more vision for not only this podcast, but for a business of mine, for me to really coach women eventually to help them get out of the way of themselves, giving them the confidence that they've been always seeking and wanting. So, kind of coaching women when it comes to public speaking, coaching women when it comes to bringing back that confidence that they lost that has always been there. And so, I've been getting a little bit more pieces of what that looks like. So, I would say hopefully by the age of 30, I will be operating fully in that space. And so
Awesome.
I'm super excited because not only being able to do that, but also partnering with my partner in the Omni Circle group and being fully involved in the membership and the culture and what we're doing in that space. So there's a lot of moving pieces happening. And so right now I'm just kind of like I said, just watering each seed, but I see it coming in full circle. And so I will just be even more transparent that I can't fully speak on what God is, building because it's still being worked on. But right now, I would say it's definitely just giving people a platform to speak and just really hosting more events when it comes to women to connect, to learn, and to grow forward. It's always been a passion of mine because it's interesting that women, I run into a lot of them and we feel lonely. It's so interesting to hear how many women feel lonely in their journey of entrepreneurship and their journey of just life. And so if I can create an experience or create an opportunity for us to learn from one another, I'm like, I want to do that.
Wow. That's awesome, Danielle, what you're doing and your goals. And of course, I know how that is when you're in a space and God is giving you something and he's like,
Mhm.
not yet. I've been in fact
Yep.
I'm in that right now actually, of just being in a space. I don't want to tell it, but it's like not
I
yet.
know.
Yeah, I've
Hmm.
been there and I know how
Yep.
that is. So I just encourage you just follow that voice that that he's leading you
Yep.
because that when you say that full circle, we
Yep.
can see the light where God is trying to lead us, but when we sometimes tell the other people they can't see it. So it's some
Yes.
and I actually talked about this on an episode
Mm.
not too long ago. Sometimes people don't see the full picture like you see it, so it's better
Mm-mm.
you can't tell them it until it
Nope.
actually happens. So, I definitely
Oh my
encourage you,
gosh.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
I received that. I
Mhm.
received that.
Yes, yes. So my last question, for this conversation that we've had, just what are your encouragements for maybe someone who is trying to get to their here, trying to get to their goal, and
Mm.
maybe don't know the direction they need to go in, or is questioning maybe the direction they need to go in right
Oh, I love that question. Okay. So this advice is always going to change based on what season I'm in. So
now?
I would say, like, the best or the current advice that I would give to someone right now, wanting to step out and do the thing that they don't know, they need guidance. I will just say, like, just start. Just start and do it. And it sounds very cliche, but I will tell you where it's coming from because I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to be perfect. Like until the rollout, like for the red carpet, I want like A, B, and C. I want all
Right.
my ducks to be in a row. And so constantly, I keep coming back to this feeling, and it goes back to control. It goes back
Yeah.
to I want to be in control. I want it to be my way. And so recently, I had to do something where it was ugly, where my ducks were in a row. I just had to do it. And
Mhm.
so the reward that I got from that came better than I expected. And so anyone that is like struggling with wanting to know what to do and how to do it, you're not going to know how to do it. So just start. Like
Wow.
literally do it ugly. I heard someone say like do
Mhm.
it ugly. Just say it ugly. Like sometimes I know we're like I got to get my thoughts together and then I'll tell you. Just say it ugly. Just like get it out. Right? Like just start. Like whatever it is, like start that podcast, write that book, get out of that job, start that job, right? Get out of that relationship, right? Break up with that friendship or whatever it is for you. Just start is what I encourage you because the more you keep yourself in this bondage of waiting for something to happen, it will never happen. So, in order for something to change, you have to change. It starts with choice. What choices are you making in order to see a different result? Like, what are you
Right.
doing? And so I literally had to have that conversation with myself that's like, okay, Danielle, you won't know until you do it. You won't know what works until you actually put it out there. You don't know what feedback you're going to get until you actually announce it to the world. And so
Right.
it's like you have to just do it. And so I think that sometimes we want everything to be picture perfect. We want it to actually be Instagram perfect and social media ready. And honey, let me tell you, you do not own those platforms. So those platforms
Woo!
own you. And so you're waiting for it to
Woo!
be social media ready, and it's like, for what? Like, for
My,
what?
my. Woo!
And
Say
I'm
that
just
part
really
again.
speaking to
Say that part for
myself
the people in
again.
the
I'm
back.
just I'm just
Say that.
really talking to me.
No, 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 no. Say that part for the people in the very, very back. They need to hear that
Yeah.
about social media.
Yeah, it's
Woo!
like we're waiting for things to be social media ready before we actually do them. And it's like you have to kind of bring yourself back to reality, honey. Like, okay, is it is it presentable for you to present it, and for a presentation or to a business or to, investors? Is it presentation ready? And then like if it is, okay, great, but like you're trying to work so hard to make it social media ready for what? For people that don't even
Right.
care about you, for people that just like your stuff and move on. You spent like 8 hours on this thing wanting it to be social media ready. And you're not getting the feedback that you wanted because you're seeking the wrong feedback. You need to be seeking faith. You need to be leaning on
Mm,
yourself. You need to be looking at all the people around you that truly care about you and they can give you that right feedback. But again, going back to Mike Todd and that podcast, because it really stuck with me with him and Tim Ross. So good. Encourage everyone to go listen to it. But it literally was like, because I was in that space, I was like reaching out to all my friends and was like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I literally heard him say, you have got to stop seeking feedback. Like God gave you that word, God gave you that vision. That is the word for you. And you said it earlier, Courtney. You were like, yeah, people are gonna always see, like, your perspective or your vision, and, like, honey, let me tell you, they're never gonna see it,
Mhm.
because that's like you giving someone the prescription to your glasses that's meant for you.
Right.
Why would they see in the same prescription as you? They're not,
Mm-mm.
right?
Right.
So what is for you is for you. So you have to constantly operate out of a space of saying, regardless of who has this idea, regardless of who has the recipe, they will never make it like me, ever. Right? And so
Absolutely.
I constantly play that in my head because I will tell you, it's a very hard time for us to create in this space. You got AI, you got people doing all the same things. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, everyone's going to be doing what I'm doing. Honey, yeah, we're like beyond that, of course. Like, you're
Right.
probably like the 100th person, maybe beyond that, doing that. But you are doing it in your way. You're doing it
Absolutely.
in the beauty of who you are, right?
Right.
And so, whatever it is that you're creating, whatever podcast, whatever business, whatever book, whatever you're creating, it is going to be beautiful because you created it.
Wow. That what a way
Yeah.
to end this episode. Oh my God, Danielle. I feel like you said, we need a part
I
two to this
had fun.
episode. I'm having so much fun, and I'm like,
Yes.
I hate that we got we gotta
I know.
wrap it up. But I feel like we gonna I'm gonna make it happen. We're gonna do part two of
Oh,
this, and
we
I'm gonna
are.
make it happen. And I'll do you one better. We have your boyfriend come on too, because I think
Oh my
having
gosh.
both of you
Be
all
ready for
on,
that one. That's
yeah.
gonna be a heated one. Oh my gosh. No, we
Woo!
would love to, definitely. But most importantly, Courtney, I just want to say thank you so much and shout
Absolutely.
out to you and what you're doing. Like, I'm so serious. I really want that video.
I got you.
um,
I got
and
you.
I will make sure people know it's from you, but like, because I definitely believe in giving people credit. But yes, like I truly enjoy this space. And I'll just say thank you because one, I'm in a very like secretive season and I really had to pray before I got in here. And so I really enjoyed our conversation. Definitely thank you again for choosing me. And yeah, like I hear God so clearly. And so I think I needed this for me more than anything. So thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for accepting the invitation. Um, like I said, I it was just me listening to your podcast, and the Lord led me and like, hey, you need to reach out to Danielle. And like you said, we have never met
Yeah.
before, as Danielle mentioned. We
No.
only talked through social media, and
Yep,
this is a God thing. So
it is.
thank you. Hey, before we go, we got to do word of the week. I know y'all
Let's
saying, Courtney, you
go.
gonna do word of the week? Yeah, I'm gonna do word of the week. I ain't forgot. So without further ado, this is word of the week. Hey, I'm Courtney Chandler, and I'm headed to the Buck Creek Festival here in Helena.
Food, music, vendors, and ducks. You can only experience it at the Buck Creek Festival in Helena. The festival happens once a year and is a major event for the town of Helena, showcasing the town and benefiting its economy. More than anything, it's an opportunity for people to enjoy themselves. Many times we are so caught up in our jobs and problems that we forget that life is meant to be enjoyed. So whether it's taking yourself out, relaxing at the house, or going out on a date, take the opportunity to enjoy your life, and I promise you won't regret it.
So I'm Courtney Chandler, and the word of the week is enjoy, and I'm gonna enjoy this corn on the cob with garlic parmesan and I think lemon pepper. Yeah, this is good. Y'all be blessed.
I love that. I'm like, Dad, you got me hungry over here. Yes. Come on with the corn on the cob.
That corn blessed my soul. That corn was good. I almost started it. Danielle, if I didn't have to go get a haircut Saturday, I almost went back in line and got another one. But
Oh
yes,
my gosh.
word of the week is enjoy. Before we go, Danielle, what's happening on behind the spotlight? Just tell us a little bit about what's happening or what you have maybe planned
Yes.
for your podcast.
Yes, definitely. A new series is about to come out, Women on the Rise. Okay, this is where a variety of entrepreneurs are coming on the show. And again, they're just expressing who they are, what they do behind the title of their business. And so we dive into so many things. I'm super excited to share the people that's going to be on this series. When I tell you it's going to be powerful, I'm super excited. There's also some other individual podcasts that I'll be doing myself as well. So I haven't made the announcement, but you just heard it here first. So
Hey, the exclusive.
super excited. Yep, the exclusive. Just me, myself, and I'm going to be going back to just having those one-on-ones with you guys. I got a lot of really good feedback from people just wanting to hear me, which is crazy because I'm like, I got nothing to say. But based on the feedback and based on what God has aligned with that word, I'm going to be releasing, I'm sorry, two series at the same time. So it's going to be a very powerful month coming up in December. So just wait on it.
Just wait on it. I love it. I love it. And of course, they can catch you out on Apple Podcasts. Are you on any other platforms as
Yeah.
well?
Yep. So Apple, Spotify, and Google, just type in Behind the Spotlight podcast with my name, Danielle J. Martin. And you can also follow me on social media at Danielle J. Martin TV.
Awesome. Well, again, Danielle, thank you so much for taking out the time to come on the I Am Courtney Chandler podcast. We have been
Yes.
blessed by this episode and all the things you have shared this evening. And we thank everyone for taking out the time to listen and watch this episode. I am here. Remember to subscribe. I am Courtney Chandler podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course on YouTube. And make sure you follow as well on Instagram and on Facebook. Until then, God bless you, love you, and continue to discover yourself, embrace it, and unlock the potential within. Talk to y'all soon.